It is DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back. We're in a different location today, and I'm going to tell you why we're in a different location, and I'm going to explain everything that has kind of been a little bit vacant over the past couple of weeks. It's been a little bit up and down. It's been a little bit. Um, it's just not been the best time, and I've just not really had like that much information that I've been able to like put together on a stream, and being able to like update you all on YouTube about what has been going on. So, you've read the title of the stream correctly. Video. I mean, you can watch this when it's not live, but you've read the title correctly. I have moved property, and I'm gonna tell you basically why I've. Well, I'm gonna tell you in the best way that I can why I've moved property. I won't go into the full details and the ins and outs because there's a lot of personal stuff, and I keep a lot of personal stuff like off of the social media. Um, so you can see me streaming and saying, "Oh, I'm absolutely buzzed about this upcoming gig." But in sense, I could be like just having the shittest day ever. But I'm just not the type of person that airs all the laundry on social media. So I try to give things a little bit more of a positive outlook, and in some sense like it works as a good thing, but and then in other sense it can kind of be a bad thing because then people don't actually realize that you're actually down, or people don't actually realize that you may be actually going through something, and they do actually just think you are genuinely quite happy at the moment. But yeah, sometimes it can be bad for you if you air all your laundry on social media, and it can affect you as a musician as well if people see that you're always down and you're always putting your rants and your debates and your arguments up. That it can make people think like, oh, this guy's always up and down, which truthfully, on a 100% level, I'm not an up and down kind of person. I don't really suffer like with mental health or anything. It's not really something that has ever bothered me. I've always like only just ever had just the odd bad days where I've not felt too good, or where something's just annoyed me a little bit, or something's just dragged me down. But I've never like gone into a deep spiral where I've just felt like I've not wanted to do anything, or where I've just gone to it's got to the point of like having to seek help or anything. But anyway, without sort of we're digressing from the situation here. So yes, so essentially, I have moved property, and it's been the most stressful situation that I have ever in my whole entire life had to go through. Like, you literally do not understand. So, the house where we was currently living, which was not the nicest house, let me tell you. The house was falling to pieces. There was holes in the floor. There was holes in the walls. There was put it this way, it got to the point where up until me just moving out, my light in my bedroom and the kitchen light and the hallway light was the only lights in the house that would fully work. So my mum's bedroom light, the dining room light, the landing light, and the living room light, they didn't work properly. They'd flicker on and off. They wouldn't stay on properly. Downstairs, there was two like holes in the floor where the floorboards underneath the carpet had rotted, and if you was to like try and stumble to the bathroom in the dark, you could catch your foot on it and you could trip. Um, there was a part of the ceiling in my bedroom that had basically there's a hole in the tile, and rain had been getting in, and there was like there's like I've got like a little cupboard with a boiler in it, and then there's like a little loft hatch, and there's like a loft that is above that. Well, essentially, loads of the roof behind the loads of the roof just around the little latch to the loft had all got damp and had literally like caved in. It had all come in, and there was like loads of damp that had gotten down behind the walls, and it had rotted all the plasterboard. So half of the wall had it literally like corroded away, and it had literally gone back to the plain brick of the property. And the hole that was in that's in the little cupboard with the boiler, there every time it rained, there was literally water dripping onto the switch that would turn the boiler on and off. So it was like literally dripping onto the top of a switch socket, which was obviously never a good thing. Another thing to mention, the radiators were broken, and they would never turn off. So like if you turned the heating off, the radiators would always slightly stay turned on. So like in the middle of summer, you would essentially, like, even though you have the heating off, you would essentially have still like a tiny bit of heating turned on. And the only way that you could stop this from happening was to physically run out of gas. So we was on like a top up meter where you'd go to the shop and you'd top it up, and the only way for the radiators to actually physically turn off was to run out of gas. And then obviously if you run out of gas, you get no hot water. So it was like killing one bird with one stone, and it was solving one issue and causing another, which was an absolute pain in the backside. Um, then to top all that off, the actual area that we was living around wasn't the best area, and the neighbours that we lived next door to, they were by far probably one of the worst neighbours that I have ever had to live next door to in all of my life. And the story behind that one is a woman decided one day that she was going to sunbathe on top of a flat roof. So there's like we've got like little flat rooftops at the back of the houses, and she decided one day that she was going to lay out there and she was going to sunbathe on the roof. And I don't know if she decided to do that and have a few drinks, but cutting the story short, she fell off the roof and she sustained a head injury, and she's never been the same since. And she's actually not to sound disrespectful or anything, but she's gone a little bit doolally, and she just wasn't the best neighbour to live next to. And my bedroom literally was like right next to her bedroom, and the walls in them houses are so thin. So every time she was having an episode, or she was kicking off, or she was having an argument with her husband, we'd literally like hear the whole thing word for word. And she literally, because of her condition, she literally barely ever left the bedroom. So like I'd hear like this morning on ITV, like when I used to wake up, and like late at night, 2 in the morning, she'd be having an episode, and I'd hear it when I'm trying to get to sleep. But vice versa, if I was having a mix or something, or I was working on some music, she'd probably hear that word for word as well. And she'd hear me like playing over the section of a track like hundreds of times as I'm trying to get the right sounds that I want. So I guess it kind of worked in both ways. And then there was a load of personal reasons why I just said essentially it just wasn't working for us at that property. So we knew we wanted to move, and this was kind of where the whole drama just boom, it just roared in. From getting excited to getting let down to getting excited to getting let down. So essentially, first off, we was there was chance of a 3 bedroomed house going, and it was just off Bricknell Avenue in Hull, and there was loads of exciting sort of like things about it. There was, like we went and had a look at it from the outside because there was still some people living in it, and it had a really nice garden, and the third room was going to become like a studio room, and there was loads of great excitement and ideas, and it was like 10 minutes away from one of me, well, it was about 2 minutes away, sorry, from one of my closest friends, and I was like proper buzzed and proper excited about it. And then essentially the people that was living in that house, there was bad tenants, and then they was just refusing to leave the property, and they was literally being told that they have to leave, and now it's like going through the courts and stuff. So the house just became a little bit of a no-go, just loads of issues going on with it, and apparently they'd like trashed it up, and they was refusing to leave, and it was a right state inside, and it just all got ruined. So we was back to looking again, and then I got opportunity of like getting some help through like some supported living, which is something I've also been like trying to go down the route of as well. And a bit of good news came from that, and they said, look, there's a place, and we do, there's a flat going, and it's on Beverly Road, and I went and met this support worker and had a meeting, and like shook her hand and signed some paperwork, and got told I could see this flat the following Monday, and then got shown to the outside of the flat, and it was right literally just round the corner from someone who I work with, and he was like, buzz for me, if there's anything you need, blah blah blah. And I was a little bit nervous at first because it was like that first step of moving somewhere by yourself, and moving into your own place, and then I kind of got used to the idea, and I looked on the maps of like how close it was to work and everything that I needed to do, and it all just kind of literally just seemed to be like really exciting. And then like on Tuesday we're going to take you to the place, and and you can move in and stuff, and blah blah blah. And then I get a text on the Friday saying, unfortunately, there's something with the landlord, and you can no longer move in. Um, and I was really disappointed. It was like getting my hopes up again, to be disappointed and let down. And then finally, I got another meeting last week with another another support worker, from another company, who finally was able to get me into a place, which is the place that I'm currently in now. So that was kind of the whole process of moving, and that was kind of the whole situation. But there's more to it. Like, there was more personal reasons to why I was obviously leaving, and I ain't gonna go into too much detail, but it was more a case of not whether I wanted to leave or not. It was more the case of like you have to leave. Like we have to leave the property that we was currently living in, and that still stands. I've got out of the bad situation, but the bad situation is far from over for others at the moment, and I do hope that it can all get sorted, and they can find somewhere different to go. But it just wasn't the best situation. And like I say, I could have been streaming and telling you that I'm buzzed about this gig at the weekend, and I could have been like having just a really horrible day. And even sometimes you'd know yourselves when I'm streaming, like I'd sometimes just go and shut a door because they'd be like shouting and stuff. um you know and I was in a house where there was always a lot of people coming round, and it was always quite a noisy place, and it wasn't always like the best. Like, you could sometimes hear like people having a bit of a to do or having a bit of a shout, and obviously I didn't like that in the backgrounds of my streams and stuff like that as well. But yeah, there was just a whole load of personal issues, and it was time for me to make it. I needed to make that change, and at the end of the day, this was my opportunity to get out of a bad situation. And part of me didn't want to leave it at the same time, because there was good memories there, and I got used to routine there. Like, I knew like just how easy it was to walk to work and everything else that I do with work. I run the studio sessions on a Thursday, the music lab sessions on a Monday, and I knew I could get to the work office in like 10 minutes, and I didn't have to think about all these different ways of traveling, and it was just easy for me. And then like going to visit my grandparents, it was just easy enough to the train station, without thinking about different buses or how am I going to get there. And I knew roughly what time to set off, and knew how quick I could roughly be at the station. It was easy for gigs as well if I was going out of town and getting a train. Like when we went to Stoke and when we went to Leicester and we played in nightclubs, down that way, and across that way. It was all easy stuff. And when you get used to that routine, and then certain shops that you'd call in and get a drink on your way to work, and it's just all that change. It's a little bit funny, and it'll just take obviously that initial getting used to it. But that was part of the reason why I didn't want it to happen. Part of the reason why it was happening was, countless people's faults to blame, and I kind of wish, like, sometimes, like, if you hadn't let this happen in the first place, like, we wouldn't have been in this situation, but the house would have still been falling to pieces. So, and it's a good move in a lot of ways, but it's just that initial getting used to the move and the change and stuff like that. So but yeah, so that is the updates. So I'll just give you a quick little show around now. So everything's all everywhere at the moment, as you can see. Units and things are not set up. I want to get them set up like exactly how I need them to be set up. Like, for example, the decks, they have to go next to the computer, because there's a wire that goes from the computer into the decks, and then when I live stream, it gets the audio from the decks. So like, if I can't put the computer near the decks, like there's gonna be hell on. If I can't have things the way that I like them, and not just the way that I like them, but the way that they work for the things that I do. It's just not going to be good. But we'll see. We'll try moving things around, and we'll try different things, and we'll make it be what we'll make it be. And this will become the new music studio, if you like. It'll become the new place where hopefully I'll write countless more bangers. We'll do countless more live streams, and I'll be able to get some really good mixes recorded as well. I did one yesterday. We're going on the guest mix on a podcast, and I'm looking forward to that. It's a full Noble production as well, so all of my recent productions, some of my older ones as well, as been crammed into this mix, and I've not even had chance to listen to the mix yet, so I've not had a chance to listen back to it yet. I will be doing at some point, and hopefully it should be all gravy. So we'll see how it goes, but there we go. So I'm gonna cut from this stream, because now I'm kind of all settled in and sat in, and I'm kind of looking around and thinking, where's that bag? And there was a little rucksack, and I put all the wires in it for the speakers. It's got my microphone in it. It's got all my like important stuff in there. It's got the USB stick in there that has got like hundreds of tracks on it. That I've obviously like bought over the past couple of years, and stuff that I still continue to buy at the moment. So it'll just be a case of having a look around to see where it is. I know I've seen it here, because I remember putting it on my back when I moved in here, and I said I'll keep it on my back for now, and now I just can't remember what I've done with it. So sugar. I'll have to have a little hunt for that. But like, comment, share. We'll see you soon.